everyone. Happy Thursday all around the world. I'm really, really excited and elated to have our latest Chandanni Conversation series with none other than one of my current and very favorite mentors, Joe Rogister, global strategist, nutritional coach and specialist for many years with the company Pruvit, which is biohacking the whole keto game. And today I would love for you, Joe, we know so much about what's been happening in Pruvit within our community that I've been honored to be part of since only the 22nd of June, even though it feels like a decade so far because so many riveting things are happening. But I'd love for you to just tell us a bit about, I know how you got involved. It was introduced to you by your wife's doctor. And I know that your wife, Christy, had some health issues she was dealing with, especially with her autoimmune conditions, and how the exogenous ketones helped her move out of that, along with her lifestyle choices. But I'd love to hear from you, growing up as a kid, growing up as a young man, what compelled you to become who you are today, and how, sort of in a brief way, the guides, the signs, the motivations, the wants, the needs, the longings of who you were as a child up until now has navigated your life into this epic moment.
Yeah. Wow, really starting me off like that, eh? I had no idea I was gonna talk about my childhood, but this is what I love about you, Chandanni. Just throwing everybody for a loop. Look, I'm from Canada originally. I got a wonderful family. We had 6 kids, 4 sisters, and 1 brother. I was raised basically by my sisters because my mother worked nights. She was a nurse, a caregiver. My dad was a teacher. They didn't have a ton of money or anything like that, but grew up with lots of love. The family always awesome. My sisters taught me to cook and stuff like that at a very young age. And but I grew up I was born in 1973, so I grew up in an age where there was no seat belts. And we had white bread, and the healthiest thing that my parents ever did for us was switch us from Coke to Diet Coke, which, by the way, was not a healthy switch at all. But that was how we grew up, knowing nothing about nutrition. So I realized that nobody was taking attendance at university. And I was in a big university in London, Ontario, Canada, called University of Western Ontario, which had like 1,500 students in every class, and it wasn't conducive to learning. So as soon as I found out they weren't taking attendance, that was the last class I ever attended. And then I went into the School of Life and traveled around the world and bartended and got into it. And then until I was 27 years old, a couple of years beforehand, I'd met my girlfriend then, who's my wife now. And at 27, she said, "You got to get out of a bar and get a real job, or else kiss me goodbye." And I decided at that point that I liked her more than bartending. Go figure. And went and got a sales job at one of Canada's biggest banks. Realized that I did not want to. That you're just a number at a corporation. That's how I felt. And decided that was not for me, and living in a cubicle was not for me. So went out on my own, started my own business. Then realized that I was just the lowest paid, hardest working employee at the job that I owned in my own business. But never wanted to go back to being somebody's employee. And that was when somebody said, "Hey, listen, there's this business model of network marketing." And I said, "What, one of those pyramid things?" And then learned about the actual business model. That was about 10 years ago. I spent 2 years studying the business model as I was still in other businesses before I found one that I wanted to be a part of. And spent 4 years learning the industry before somebody introduced me to Pruvit, and then everything changed. That was my short version of my life.
It's amazing because you come from this background of being this free spirit that always had a rebellious longing to achieve something beyond reasonable doubt, it feels, just from what I heard. And I know just from the brief time I've known you that you're very into health and wellness. You're very into surfing, which is a very philosophical sport in a way. It's all about pushing your boundaries and having trust and being out there in the great unknown in a very, very sort of like surfaced way. And I know that you've been with Pruvit since the beginning, the almost the early days of its inception, and how the world has changed so much in 5 years, how wellness has evolved in 5 years. And really it's about biohacking. You know, I said that we're going to talk about the business of wellness today. And really sometimes people think that your spirituality or your wellness or your lifestyle or your private life is very separate from your business life. However, what's happening in this day and age is that people are wanting everything together. And I think that's one of the most riveting things about Pruvit and the nutritional technology that is so timely today, is that it's addressing those wants and needs of the society at large. Can you comment on that, on how the culture of the company reflects the product of the company, reflects the wants and needs of the status quo, and is why perhaps it's elevating and moving in the direction that it has done over the last 5 years, reaching $1 billion with no debt?
Yeah, that's a great point, and that's always what I felt. I think a lot of people felt it there, that like there's a way to do it better, right? Like, you know, getting into a career, when I realized, okay, I had to have a career. You know, when I got into corporate, I thought, man, there's got to be something better than this. And then getting into owning my own company, you know, people that become a sole proprietor, you and your own clinic, right? You think, okay, listen, we can make this beautiful, right? And then when you see this business model, you think, man, this is incredible, right? This makes so much sense. The company handles all the infrastructure. Like, you know very well what it takes to open your own company and have employees and all those costs and all the overhead and administration. It's ridiculous, right? It's very difficult. It's why most businesses fail. So if you've got a company that's a proven entity that has the capital to back them, that puts together all the infrastructure costs for you, and creates this system where you can make money over and over again, that makes sense. So, you know, 25 years ago, the owners of this company started in this industry, and they've been through the paces. They've learned a lot of stuff that, you know, we don't want to spend that time learning those life lessons and having those failing forward situations that they have all learned. We'll just stand on their shoulders, right, and be able to learn from that. And so this company has been the development, you know, we say it's been around for 5 years. It's been developing for 25 years in the minds of the, you know, the marketing geniuses behind Pruvit. And two of them are billionaire philanthropists that, you know, have always wanted to do it better. And then the marketing mind of our CEO, Brian Underwood, who from the time that he saw the business model, thought it's awesome, but you can use it as a vehicle to really be something special. So before the name Pruvit was even invented, these three boyhood friends, two of them that had become billionaires and one of them that had just become a marketing genius with a bunch of fail forward situations in his past, were thinking of a way that they could get everybody the tools to become better versions of themselves. They were looking at the Richard Bransons, the Elon Musks, seeing how what those people were utilizing as tools from a mindset standpoint to constantly be operating at that different vibration. And so at that point, that's where they got the name Pruvit. One of their friends was wearing a t-shirt that said Pruvit. And they're like, what does that mean? And the guy said, well, it's a new company that I'm thinking about. It's all about, you know, leave your bullshit at the door, right? If you want to lose the weight that you want, the guy was a fitness pro. If you want to lose the weight, then prove it. Take action, right? If you want to be a better dad, prove it. If you want to get over your own, you know, stuff in your mind, prove it. And so the idea behind Prove It was, you want something, then take action, and we'll give you all the tools in order to achieve it, right? From climb a mountain to run a marathon to, you know, be a better citizen, whatever you wanted to do. And so they began working with Joseph McClendon III, who's Tony Robbins' business partner, in order to create this layered learning system and this kind of personal development mindset coaching company environment to be able to take anybody and help them be a better version of themselves. And then the US military just happened to be at the same time researching a product that was basically mindset juice, right? The ketone drink, right? And so they got a call from University of South Florida saying, hey, listen, we're ready to bring this product to the market. And this might be exactly what you're looking for to support your program. So it was like the stars aligning. The perfect product came in to their business model. And so they then, with that product, had a completely unique product. So it fit right in with their blue ocean marketing strategy of bring something completely unique to the world and just educate people, right? And all of that happening at the same time that, a nutritional therapist like me, and like, I don't know how long ago you learned about the ketone molecule, but when I heard about it, I was like, no, that can't work. And no, that way of eating doesn't work. And so it's almost like, we all jump on this vehicle at whatever time it's brought to us and realize that this is the future. This is the evolution of business, the evolution of biohacking, and the evolution of fueling our body. And we get to be a part of it.
It's super. I had no idea about all those anomalies that came together. I mean, they say luck is when opportunity meets timing. It seems to be the definition of that for this incredible company. And for myself and my team, and as you know, you're one of the global strategists for the company. You guys just launched the 1st of June. I'm associated with that sort of side of the team, and we feel like so blessed. We feel the same way. I can speak for myself and a few of my team members. We feel as though the timing for the introduction of this incredible disruptive wellness product that's taking the world by storm couldn't have been better for us as well. So I don't regret being part of the company 5 years ago. I feel it's exactly the right time, and I feel people coming into this right now are actually the lucky ones, because I know just from having my own small company, the trial and error for the first few years, you could sort of avoid. And so 5 years seems to be sort of like the epic time into coming into a company that's actually starting to really soar. Can you comment on that?
Yeah, in fact, 5 years is like this milestone that people always talk about. There's, different phases of every life cycle of every business, right? The first 2 years, 95% of the businesses, no matter what, go to business in their first 2 years, generally because, underfunding, all different types of reasons. It's just very tough to get a business going in this day and age. So you don't want, people always say, oh man, you got in right at the start. I joined when it was 9 months old. The company had already done $30 million in sales, and, you looked at the owners, and as soon as somebody said it to me, I was like, how long have they been around? 9 months? Oh, talk to me in 5 years, right? That's literally what I said to the guy. Talk to me in 5 years. Let's see if they're still around. But then, you looked at it, then he said, well, they've 30 million so far. I'm like, really? Right. And then, they were already a debt-free, privately owned company then. Now they're a self-sustaining, debt-free, privately owned company, which means that they don't and won't ever need to bring in additional funding from anybody, which means that they won't and don't ever need to, go public or anything like that, because which means that they can control their own product quality and everything. And that to some people is not important. That to us, I know is very important. But so now the 5-year mark is like this milestone in this industry that most companies never make it to it. The ones that do, nobody's ever done it with the type of numbers that this company has done it in. And, now for the average person that wants to get involved in this business, and that's the great thing, is that nobody has to be a wellness guru like you are, or expert, or nutritional therapist, or fitness pro, or anything. People can just come into it now. And because when we started, there was 2 studies on exogenous ketones, right? Now there's 1,000, right, on every different metabolic function that our body has, just about. 2 years ago, they proved that the brain runs better on ketones than it does on glucose. And when I say proved, I mean proved. They got proof of concept in the scientific world. That means basically they've proven it. And that came from a a scanning machine showing our brains running better on it. Before that, they always thought glucose was the only way. And so that has opened up this new realm of thinking. Yeah. And so now it's almost like, someone creative like yourself comes into the business, or if you're sitting there watching it and you're thinking, man, I'm creative, right? Now we've got, there's more avenues. Now we know that whether you want to help people with their finances, or whether you want to help people with a specific, health condition, or, you see that the entire way, from the American Diabetes Association changing their recommendations on how they treat one of the world's biggest epidemics. Forget the coronavirus. Way more people died of diabetes in the past 6 months than the coronavirus could ever have an effect on. If you take the look at the growing concern on how our brain functions and how our brain's aging and stuff like that, and you see the profound effect that this shifting in thinking and the way that we fuel our body and brains is happening on that, that you're a part of not just of a very significant time in the evolution of this. A bit of a revolution, really. We were sitting around with the cool part of this company, the guy that invented the product, Dom DiAgostino. He was the guy that was working with the U.S. military and created the patent. There's an awesome TED talk with him talking about starving the brain of sugar, or what happens when you get the sugar out of your system. And him and Dr. Ken Ford, who's one of the Inventors Hall of Fame. There's only 12 people in it, Ben Franklin, Albert Einstein, Dr. Ken Ford. He's on the scientific advisory board of this, talking about that in the next 10 years, there will be more advances in bionutrition and signaling molecules in our body than there has been in the past 100 years. Right? Because they know that the body is just like software. You can signal off the things that you don't want and signal on the things that you do want. So that's a very exciting time, for anybody that's into human optimization or just helping people get well.
It's amazing. It's very exciting. And what I love most about this company is that it's for the complete mass market. It's not a niche market oriented product or business model. It is actually inclusive of all people, which on top of all the other similarities and synchronicities is optimizing the world of business too, for people that don't have time, or mothers or fathers or students or anyone, plumbers, electricians, doctors, nurses, professionals, entrepreneurs. Everybody is welcome to live this potential, because it's the birthright of every human being to feel optimized as they grow in their lives, with their families, with their work, with their careers. So the timing for this, the inclusivity for this, the global access for this couldn't be better, especially in this challenging time across the world. I want to segue before we close into, there's so much to talk about, and I hope you come on again and we get more specific with some subjects. But for today's introductory conversation, I want to talk about this beta hydroxybutyrate. I want the BHB, and not to get too sciencey about it, but the mass market wants the science. They want to understand. They're tired of going to the doctor and the doctor just giving them pills to pop. Oh, you've got this condition, you've got this, take this to the pharmacy, take that to the pharmacy. People, the general market wants to be informed, wants to learn, wants to be educated. Can you tell us about the mission of Pruvit and the education around understanding our physiology, our psychology, our biology, understanding this bio-identical ketone briefly, so that the audience can sort of see the integrity behind what we're offering to market. It's not just about selling another product. It's literally like a movement to become better. And if you don't have the foundation of your physiology and psychology and livelihood first, it's really hard to have a fulfilled life. Can you talk about the science aspect?
Yeah, I think that it comes down to one simple thing, right? Like at the core of our existence is our body's core energy, and that is mitochondria, right? And so our mitochondria, and again, not to get too sciencey, but that's the, if you've heard that term before, what it is, that's the core of our energy. Everything comes down to our mitochondria, and they are fueled by two things. One is glucose, and one is ketones, right? Now, glucose comes with and so everything that we've ever had in our health and wellness world comes down to glucose. Our body converts, all carbohydrates. So all the Amazonian juices, all the blueberries, all the broccoli, all that kind of stuff is glucose. And our body needs insulin in order to have, to be fueled by it. Or there's ketones, right? So every product that's ever come on board is basically glucose to fuel that mitochondria until ketones. And ketones produce 30% more energy per gram than glucose, right? Ketones produce that energy with less oxygen, which means there's less oxidation, which means there's less free radical damage, less harmful byproducts, so we don't age as quickly as we utilize it. And ketones, unlike glucose, which basically is just an energy source, right? A fast-burning energy source, ketones are a long-lasting energy source that are also a signaling molecule. So that for the first time, they're a dual metabolite. So there's never been anything like it before. And having this ketone in something that you just drink, this takes away the whole, well, what about diet? But I want to be a vegan. Can I do this? I want to be a carnivore. Can I do this? I want to be a vegetarian. Can I do this? Takes that all away. Now we just have a delivery system, an efficient delivery system for this. Now the world has taken, just like anything, when they get excited about something, they marginalize it. And they take a product that is incredible, and then they find ways to produce it cheaply. And then they bring it out to the market, and they use the education that other people have created in order to sell a product. Pruvit doesn't do that. They don't want to have sales. They created a community. That community includes great health and wellness professionals like you that want to help other people, that have dedicated their lives to helping other people, finding the tools to help them do it and understand it. And then the top scientific researchers on the planet. So these people like, the Dom D'Agostino, long before we were ever even thinking about keto, he was in a lab researching it, right? There was people before him that were his mentors that were looking at this since the 70s and going, it's wrong what the world's telling people, right? There's a better way to fuel your body. And that information is just getting out there now. So now we have this ultimate tool to make it easy for people. And we do need to make it easy for people because people are busy. People have been bullshit in the past. So we need to have something simple. And then for anybody, for exactly what you said, the people that do want to know the reasons for it, all that information's there. So Pruvit created this community around all the people that give a shit about other people's health to be able to take people for whatever they want from their health, whether it's just to be able to get through the day or whether they want to be that biohacker optimizing, taking it to the next level. Look, if you want to do all the things that you love until you're 95 years old, right, then you can do it now. You can feel great doing it every day. And this company will give you the tools to do it.
It's amazing. For one, I've been with the company since the 22nd of June, and I've never had so much fun in my work career. And I love wellness. I'll live and die doing wellness, but it's been one of the most dynamic, challenging, supportive, influential, inspiring. I mean, I have mentors now. I've had a couple of business mentors in the past, but nothing like you and Brian Underwood and Michael Rutherford, just real authentic people that have a plethora of experience doing something cutting edge that is in demand for the world. We are the lucky ones, and we're so grateful to Pruvit, to the whole team at Pruvit, and we feel as though our community is just starting to take flight. So for anyone that's interested in coming on board, we welcome everyone, and there is resources, backup, and everyone like yourself, you're just a hand away, a call away, a video away, an information away. You have so many resources available, both you and Christy and Pruvit corporate company as well, that really there's no excuse not to be even just drinking it. Just drinking the product is helping people change their lives. And as far as a business opportunity, really there's nowhere else to look if you're into wellness and wanting to make a lot of money. Do you want to end by saying anything?
That's it. Like, we are looking for business partners. And that's the greatest thing about this. Like, I remember I hated being an employee, being employed by somebody else, working for somebody else, right? I wanted to be my own business owner right? But then even as a business owner, I was an employer. So I had a bunch of employees, right? With this, we're all just business partners. And every single one of us has something to offer, whether that is just an inspiring story, somebody that we're helping. That's the great thing. So we can, as citizens of the earth, just lock arms together and work together to get to whatever our goals are, right? Whether that's an extra $500 a month to just be out of credit card debt, or whether you seriously want to do this full time, just help people do, and consumers taking care of other consumers full time. Whatever people want, they can achieve it with this. And I don't think there's ever been an opportunity like that before.
And with that, we'll see you all later. And maybe next time we'll get into more of the science stuff and speaking about why ketosis is so important as far as longevity is concerned, and health and wellness neurologically, physiologically, and metabolically.
I love that nerdy stuff.
Thank you. Lots of love. Bye, everyone.
Yeah.